Hello everyone and welcome back. This is Women in Web3. It's a new initiative from Pronouns to promote women involved in crypto and Web3 space. Today we have IIinca from Chainode Tech, one of the early indexers for the Graph protocol. So correct me, IIinca, if I'm wrong. So you are in charge of marketing and business operation for Chainode Tech. So welcome, IIinca. Is that correct?
Yes, that's correct. And thank you so much for having me here. And indeed, I'm in charge of marketing, business operations, and I'm with Chainode since the beginning of the project.
Thank you, IIinca. So our question, so we have just a few questions and then some very funny question at the end. So the first question that I want to ask you is, traditionally in the IT world, we saw predominantly a male-dominated field, while it seems that now in Web3 there are increasingly more women involved. Do you agree with this opinion? And in case, why do you think Web3 is different from the classical IT world?
Yes, I do agree with this opinion. And I actually also noticed that there are a lot more women in this field now compared to 2017, for example, when I first joined the blockchain space. And I think it's a healthy and natural development of things, in my opinion, because women bring also their own particularities and qualities to the table that sometimes a male-dominated space lacks. Like, for example, more empathy, a sort of gentleness, and just a different perspective on things that creates a more natural and a more balanced environment overall. In terms of why Web3 is different, I think it's actually related to the decentralized well. So blockchain as an ecosystem is in a way it is a by the people for the people type of environment that is by default more inclusive. Anyone can join it, just like anyone can set up a Bitcoin wallet. So in the traditional IT field, traditional rules and mindsets still apply, and it is indeed sometimes hard to bypass that as a woman. I personally also tried to switch my career and shift more towards the tech industry. Unfortunately, I did not, but luckily that coincided with the moment when I found out about Bitcoin, about blockchain, decentralization, and I fell into the rabbit hole, if I can say it like that, for approximately 1 year while I was still working. I invested quite a lot of my free time in reading about blockchain, listening to podcasts. I was more active on Twitter, engaged in different discussions on Reddit. It was a learning curve, and it showed me that as long as you are interested, proactive, and motivated, anyone can become an active part of this ecosystem, I think regardless of gender.
Thank you, IIinca, and thank you. So we saw also common pattern and also this inclusivity for sure. Also in previous interviews, that is, yeah, it's a common trend for sure in Web3, and probably it's what is really making this field special compared to the IT world. So probably because of the nature of blockchain that is permissionless. So I mean, it's probably it's a really important quality of the system and on the space and the people involved. Thank you.
Yeah, and I think it's also a great opportunity during our lifetime now to make this shift during this rise of decentralization, because it's a time when we can decouple from old systems, mentalities, and the fact that more women find their place here, I think is a sign of an overall increased adoption as well, which is
Definitely.
great.
Thank you. Thank you. And another question, how did you discover the graph and when did you get involved with the ecosystem, specifically with graph protocol?
Yeah, so regarding the graph, actually Ionut, which is the founder of Chainode Tech, actually he was the one that founded the project. Usually how it works in our team is that when one of us finds an interesting project, we sit down, we discuss about it, and based on the research data, our previous experiences with other projects, the roadmap as well, we decide if we will try to support that project or not, either financially through an investment, technically as a validator, and so on. But for the graph, I clearly remember that it was its use case that attracted our attention. Hands down, it was the most important thing. And it was something that the blockchain space lacked at the time, I think. There was no other project that was aiming to solve the issues that the graph was planning to solve. And it was actually the starting point of me hearing more and more the term Web3. And I don't think it was a coincidence. So yeah, from my point of view, the graph is a pioneer in the Web3 space and has a major role in its development.
Thank you. And correct me if I'm wrong. So Chainode Tech is also one of the early indexer because if I recall, you also joined really from the day one, from the beginning of the graph.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So we actually joined since the beginning of the mission control testnet phase 1. So we were there as early as it gets. And we have been active ever since. Now, of course, we also have our own indexer, like the Chainode Tech indexer, and we have day of mainnet. So we were actually there during the mainnet launch as well.
And also, we also know that you are also involved with several other protocols like Avalanche, Solana. What are the main project activity that you have on your roadmap for this year?
So for this year, in terms of our plans, I think the word would be scalability and scaling. We are currently actively searching for developers to join us and scale our team because, as you mentioned, we are active as a validator on multiple proof-of-stake networks like Solana, Avalanche, Axelar Network. I think we have around 15 plus proof-of-stake networks that we validate on. So scaling the team is definitely a must now. And we are also highly focused on the cross-chain topic, which in our opinion will bring the blockchain space to a whole new phase of worldwide adoption. But with cross-chain, it also means more dedication from our side because it requires a more complex infrastructure to say. And yeah, it's part of our work will also go into that direction.
Thank you, IIinca. And about the graph, so what will you like to see the graph to accomplish in the near future?
So something that I would like to see, it's actually something that I would like to see from all the projects in the space that I support and we support as Chainode Tech. I think it's an increase in decentralization. So particularly for the graph, I think an important topic is the migration of the subgraphs from the hosted service to the decentralized protocol. And this combined with a much higher spread of the stake in order to decentralize the protocol from this perspective as well. And yeah, stake decentralization is a hot topic in proof of stake networks. It's not something that has an easy or straightforward solution, but I think we should not lose it from our side because decentralization is the one thing that binds everything together and makes all the difference compared to the traditional systems or even Web 2, for example. So that's one of the things.
Yeah, thank you. And about some advices that if you think to give some advices to people who want to enter Web3 and especially women, what kind of advice you are going to give to someone that wants to enter the space?
I think from my own experience, one advice would be to just be proactive because you never know who might notice your work. And that means engage in conversations on Twitter, on Discord, ask a lot of questions, join Twitter spaces, for example, on topics that are of interest to you, even help other community members. let the creativity flow. If it's, for example, writing a Medium article or even designing an NFT, I think just to take advantage of the multitude of opportunities that are available right now, because it's a very special place in time with a lot of potential. And I think that one other thing would be to also keep in mind that the majority of the people that are in the space are here because they want to be here and because they're passionate about it, about the Web3 space and blockchain and decentralization. So this really sets the tone for the whole space. It's a very friendly, productive, full of energy space. And I would just say go for it, and the right opportunity will definitely find you.
Thank you. And I totally second you because this is also my experience when I
Mm-hmm.
joined about 1 year ago and I didn't know anything about this. And but I found so many people willing to help and no one make me feel silly when I made, I don't know, even some very basic questions. So at the beginning, also my experience is that you receive a lot and then
Mm-hmm.
after you give back to the community and yeah, the people are really amazing and
Yeah, I think this is probably my favorite thing as well. Anyone can ask whatever questions they feel like, bring their own input as well. So there's place for any opinion and for everybody.
yeah. And now just to conclude our interview, we do just some few, let's say, funny questions. So
Mm-hmm.
leaving now Web3, but coming back more into personal. So what's your favorite animal?
Favorite animal?
Yeah.
I think the answer is a quite random one, but it would be wild geese and ducks. I think they're super funny. They just have like a chill vibe, and they probably also remind me of my childhood when I was stress free, and I associate seeing them with that. So
But you don't own anything, anyone at home. No, you don't have.
unfortunately, no, but I really enjoy
Oh,
seeing them in the wild. Yeah.
and instead, if you could have any superpower, what would be?
A superpower.
Yeah.
As boring as it sounds, I think it would be teleportation.
Well,
uh,
nice. Why
it-
not?
yeah, it would really help spending more time with family because we don't live in the same country. Also with friends around the world, and it would be also a very environmentally friendly way of traveling. So,
And also useful during the pandemic. That
yeah,
yes, we could not
exactly.
travel.
Definitely, yeah.
And instead, if you could time travel to any era or specific epoch, when and where will you be?
Uh, Time travel. I think my answer would probably be the same with around 50% of the crypto community. I think I would travel back to 2013 when I first heard about Bitcoin, and I would join the space then. I'm actually very, very happy with my blockchain and crypto journey until now, but it would have made things so much easier, I think. Yeah.
No, yeah. So we, you could also buy in advance. Probably I don't know if you owned from 2013, but at that time when I discovered, I didn't buy anything. I said okay, but no, it's too complicated. I don't know what it is. It's weird. It's something strange. But now
Yeah,
with the hindsight,
it was exactly the same with me. So in 2013, I heard about it the first time, but it just crossed beside me and went away. So I did not buy anything. But yeah, in 2017, it's when I joined the space.
yeah,
Since
it's
since
also
then
amazing the
until now.
journey that's been made in just, let's say, less than, in 10 years. So, and
Hmm.
all the ecosystem that have been created, all these exchanges and DeFi, gaming. So, yes, it's really, everything moved really fast.
Hmm. Hmm.
So, if you instead could rewind your time, for example, back 10 years ago,
Hmm.
what kind of suggestion you will tell to yourself? You have some advices for yourself?
Uh, 10 years is a long time, but I would tell myself to trust my gut feeling more, and to enjoy the process of developing myself. Because if I look back over the last 10 years, they were so fun. There was so much freedom to be enjoyed. I traveled a lot. I met great people. I grew a lot also, but I think I was a bit more stressed about the outcome that I should have, and I was not as much in the, let's say, present moment. So yeah, I think that's the advice. Just trust and enjoy the process.
Yeah, I think
Mhm.
it's the price of the age. When we are younger, we are always in that state. Then we got wise, and yeah,
Mm.
yeah,
Yeah, probably I should also follow my advice for the next 10 years, for
yeah.
example.
Probably it's just
Mhm.
now you know. Now you know.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yes. And so the last question: if you could live anywhere in the world, which place and like where you will choose to live?
Um, I'm actually in the process of figuring this out now. And actually, for many years now, I'm trying to think of where I would love to live. And it's kind of hard because there are so many beautiful places. I love traveling. So just setting one specific place is a bit hard. But if I would have to share a short list, like a top three, it would be in no particular order: Switzerland, Italy, and Portugal. So definitely in Europe.
Thank you for
Mhm.
Italy because I'm biased on this. Thank you.
Yeah, it is one of my favorite countries in the whole world, indeed. Yeah.
Thank you. Thanks so much, Link. Thank you for your time. It was so. This concludes our interview, and yeah, thank you again for your time. And we always follow also your work and the work of your teams and colleagues at Chainode Tech. So thank you again for everything you do for Web3 and the Graph.
Thank you also, and thank you very much for having me.